This is the 18 Wheels of Steel Chrome Edition, which is a collection of the earlier truck simulation games released by SES Software between 2002 and 2011. The Chrome Edition celebrates the 10-year anniversary of the 18 Wheels of Steel games, featuring 7 of the installments in the series. You get Across America, Pedal to the Metal, Convoy, Holland, Extreme Trucker 1 and 2, all on 2 DVD ROMs. Notably missing, however, is the first game in the series, Hard Truck, 18 Wheels of Steel. Shift it into gear and get hauling. Extreme loads. Transport loads that would even scare your grandma. I've always loved the boastful advertising of these games that just make them seem way more exciting than they really are. Although it does appear that they struggled a little bit here since they repeated themselves with maximum or minimum loads, oversized loads, high-risk cargo, and more. The system requirements for the collection claims compatibility with Windows Vista through 8, even though that wouldn't have existed for many of the games in the collection, and it does note that Convoy is not compatible with Windows 8. Now, all but one of the games ran just fine on my Windows 10 machine, not even requiring any compatibility mode tweaks, or most of the games even supporting a 1440p resolution. That's something that even some new games don't support. Inside the sleeve is an unlabeled generic DVD-sized plastic case, inside of which you'll get an advertisement for cookbook software. Ah, ValueSoft, never change. On the other side of that advertisement is instructions on how to install the game, and a note saying that if this program requires an activation code, please use the code below. Right, I'll get right on that. So let's go ahead and get these games installed and dive back into the world of 18 Wheels of Steel. First up is 18 Wheels of Steel Across America, which was the first game in the series that featured a map of the full continental United States. Start a new game and choose from 5 different scenarios: Become a Millionaire, Devil of the Western Coast, Free Mode, New York Cargo Madness, and The Longest Journey. Other than those scenarios, Across America is essentially the same game as Hard Truck, but with one large map of the United States as opposed to 3 smaller isolated maps. One of the features that's in Across America that is lacking from the modern games is the ability to send out voice messages over your radio. Ask for weather, traffic, or just make generic comments and other virtual drivers in the game will respond.
Anyone got a traffic report up ahead?
It might not be the most useful system, but it is fun just flooding the airwaves with nonsense.
Next rest stop. Looks like a Bambi crossing. Better 10-1 on that last transmit. Stack them 8s hands, I'm 10-7.
Next on our list is Pedal to the Metal, which oddly enough is the only game in the collection that has some form of DRM attached with it, which is why it has its own dedicated DVD in the box. You need to have the first DVD loaded in your drive in order to play this game. Annoying. Pedal to the Metal is an improvement over Across America, which itself is an improvement over Hard Truck. It has improved graphics, sounds, and adds more content including parts of Canada and northern Mexico. Other than the DRM, my biggest complaint with this game is this weird automatic transmission that doesn't behave in any of the prior games or really in any way that you'd expect. Basically, to make the truck shift up, you have to let go of the accelerator and then press down again, and then it'll shift. It's actually less work to just disable it entirely and just play the game with a manual gearbox. Following Pedal to the Metal is Convoy, which, despite the name, doesn't actually involve any convoys. As with the last game, Convoy improves and tweaks the formula. It features significant graphical and audio improvements with more realistic sounds and reflective chrome. You can really tell SES was proud of their shiny chrome because it's on everything. And just like real chrome in real cars, it just looks tacky. Convoy, in my opinion, was a misstep from SES and easily the weakest game in the series. It's clear that SES wanted to make some changes to the formula rather than just keep releasing the same game with minor improvements, but none of the changes here actually improve on the game in any meaningful way when the carried over problems from the previous games are paired with new problems from this one. For example, the graphics of this game are certainly improved from the previous games, but look nothing like what you'd expect for something released in 2005. You have no visual or audible indication if any of the turn signals are on, even though the previous games had this, and instruments on the dashboard are completely static, don't show anything at all. This was fixed in a later patch, which is included in the Chrome edition. But all of these issues are minor compared to the biggest fault with this game. You can't save the game while you are on a delivery. That means that you have to complete your delivery before you can save your game. That means if the game crashes, which isn't uncommon, you're out of the entire progress of your delivery. Moving along is Holland, which didn't change much in terms of graphics and sound, but did add more trucks, trailers, and gameplay mechanics. Holland is easily one of my favorite from the series, and if you've played either of the modern games, American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator 2, then you'll feel right at home, as Holland is really when SCS nailed down the formula that they continue to use. Holland introduced a number of new features such as double trailers and the ability to buy your own trailers, a feature that was only recently added to the modern games. Paired with the ability to hire drivers, which was added in Convoy, things are really starting to take place as not only a truck driving game, but also as a business simulation game. The overall goal of the game is to deliver some goods by yourself, buy a better truck, hire some drivers, get them trucks, and then just sort of let your business run itself, all while you continue to drive around the continental USA. Holland dropped pretty much all of the changes that were made with Convoy, and is more similar to the Pedal to the Metal in that it doesn't have any story or characters, and that, well, you can save the game while you're in progress. Next up is American Long Haul, which is an updated version of Holland that includes the cities in northern Mexico that we saw in Pedal to the Metal. The cities and highways have been updated with a design that better matches the rest of the game. I personally feel like American Long Haul should have been a DLC or just an update to Holland rather than a separate game, but considering that this was ValueSoft, I can't be that surprised. Wrapping up the collection are two of the most unique games in the 18 Wheels of Steel series, Extreme Trucker. Unlike all of the prior games, Extreme Trucker is not a sandbox game, but rather a set of single jobs that have you driving through a limited, albeit highly detailed map of Bolivia, northern Canada, and Australia. As the name implies, Extreme Trucker is a game that tests your driving abilities by pitting you against challenging roads. Once you've reached your predetermined destination, you're given a score based on how long you took and if you incurred any damage. You need to score at least 80% on each run in order to unlock the next challenge. Extreme Trucker is also unique in that it's the only SCS trucking game, not just in the 18 Wheels of Steel series, where you drive other non-tractor trailer trucks. You'll be driving dump trucks, snow plows attached to them, fire trucks. Although you can't actually use the trucks for their intended purpose, you won't be putting out fires or plowing any snow. Extreme Trucker 2 is a significant improvement over the first and fixes a lot of annoyances that people had with the game. For starters, you can now choose where you start your campaign, and you can see the minimap while you drive. It also adds 2 more sets of challenges in Montana and Bangladesh. Unfortunately, Extreme Trucker 2 is the only game where I encountered difficulty with getting the game to load. On Windows XP, the game does not load past the main menu, and on Windows 10, the game just doesn't launch at all. Even with all the compatibility modes and settings applied, I still wasn't able to get it to work. In the end, I was able to get the game to launch in a Windows Vista virtual machine, although there are a number of sound problems running it there. And that's it for the 18 Wheels of Steel Chrome Edition, a set of some of my favorite trucking games of the past and a good look at all the trials, efforts, and failures that went into the modern games. I'm sure that I'm seeing these games through the rose-colored glasses of nostalgia, but for me, these games represent hours of my childhood driving around places that I've never been to. I can't go back in time and be a child again, but I sure can go back to some of my favorite games. If you'd like to learn more about the 18 Wheels of Steel games, please discuss in the comments, and thank you very much for watching.